he's trying to change the law. The law was in our state, after 6 months, you couldn't have an abortion. When the Roe v. Wade and the other decision came in, it allowed for the 7th, 8th, and 9th months to have an abortion for various reasons. And in New York State, we had up to 72. It was against the laws and penal law. And our government wants to change that to have it clear that, put it under health law, that you can have an abortion in New York State through 9 months, no problems. And he wants to also put into it that anybody, any health practitioner, a dentist, a foot doctor, anyone can do an abortion. When they were arguing to allow abortions in 1970 in this country, they were saying back alley abortions, people not qualified, not qualified. Now he wants to have anyone to be able to do an abortion. Wake up and smell the flowers. What is going on? Well, they know that the rest of the country, in our country today, is going overwhelmingly pro-life. Overwhelmingly. And they're restricting abortions. And they're anticipating it. They're anticipating that you're not going to restrict ours. We're going to lock it in now. But people will be coming to us once again. See, in 1970, 71, 72, the abortion capital of the world was New York City. Because you could have an abortion in New York City at that time up to the 7th month. They came from all over. So in 71, 72, we had millions of abortions in New York City, New York State. And we want to go back to that again, because if they're restricted in the other parts of the world, of the country, they'll be coming here. See? So we further responsibilities here. What happened to Father Chisholm was this. He suddenly was taken up and was finally bringing God to Russia, and he was very happy about it, when 2 Russian spies were arrested in Englewood, New Jersey. And they had told the Jesuit order that Father Chisholm was dead. Actually, they buried him. Up in Orriesville, New York, his tomb was there, they had a mass for him, everything. They thought he was dead. And when these 2 Russian spies were captured, suddenly, the Russian government informed our government and the Vatican that Chisholm was still alive. And they wanted to make an exchange of prisoners. Father Chisholm for the 2 Russian spies. And suddenly Father Chisholm was swept up off the ground, put on a plane, and he ended up here in New York City. And the exchange took place. He didn't know what was happening. He did not want to come here. Finally, he was bringing God to Russia. And he was very happy. And he said he came here, and he said he saw that our churches were not locked. He said, how blessed you are. Our churches were locked. Our doors were shut. And yours never were. He said, but then I started to go into the churches. One church after another, he said, I found them empty. Empty. Where are all the young people? Where are the people? Who did this to you, he said. You are a practical atheist. That's what you are. He said, we died to keep our churches open. We died to worship God. And here, he says, your churches are open, and where are the young people? Where are the people? See, when he left, when I was first ordained, could you imagine this? I was assigned to a parish. And in that parish, on Saturday and Sunday, there were 13 masses. And if you didn't come early, you wouldn't get a seat at any of the masses. Now, you can have 1 or 2 masses, and don't worry about getting there on time. There'll be plenty of room, plenty of seats. Who did this to us? Who did this to us? You see, he said, we resisted unto death. You? There was no resistance. No resistance. You accepted it. Well, how did you accept it? And that's very important to understand this. They say, don't impose your values on someone else. You must allow freedom of choice. Use all the jargon, you see, choice, openness, everything. Meanwhile, slowly but surely, imposed upon us is what they call secularism, which is godlessness. It's not meant to be that. Whereas our founding fathers intended, see, when they were in Europe, our ancestors, there was always wars, religious wars. And so they didn't want any particular king imposing his religion on the people. So they wanted to, when they came to America, they wanted to make sure the government would not impose a particular religion on God's people, on the people, but let the church, they should not establish a state religion, but they never meant that the people should not be able to practice their faith and be religious, obviously. In fact, George Washington, the first president, said, if you do not have religious people, without religion, this government cannot stand. It's just like, for example, the New York City Police Department. It's impossible for them to enforce the law if 98% of the people didn't keep the law without the police. That's a fact. They're there for the 2%. 98% don't need the police. The 98%, their conscience, their religious values, their values say, we will not do this, we will not steal, we will not kill, we will not do these things. Okay? Now, if no one has the values, well then, of course, you see, there's no way we could enforce that law. There's no way. So what the church, what our founding fathers said in the First Amendment, the state should not establish a religion, but the President Washington said, but by God, we better have religious people because otherwise we're not able to function. We need God, we need religious people. And the church should try to enhance and make religion prosper to have a healthy society. So suddenly we have one person in this country decided that her daughter, she's an atheist, Madeleine O'Hare. And she said, I don't want my daughter to hear the word of God at school. One person. And they bring it to the courts. And the court says, well, you know, we shouldn't impose that. Impose what? See, my older brothers and sisters, or my younger brothers and sisters, they went to public school. And in public school, it always started with reading the Bible. It was filled with God. That's a fact. Right? And so what happened was, suddenly, God was not allowed. Because one person did not want, and said, well, we have to, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And slowly but surely, in this country, we had different people who rejected this, rejected that, and would bring it to the judges, and they say, you can't impose it. And they remove the values in our laws, Judeo-Christian values in our laws, that make us holy and a good and strong nation. You see, in your family, you have customs. You say, this is the way we do it here. You don't like it, you leave. But this is how we do it. As long as you're living in this house, this is what we do. Oh, Grandpa used to do it this way. I know. He must have had a reason. Mother did it this way, Grandmother did it this way, so we're going to do it that way. In other words, tradition. Tradition. You hand on your values. You see? This is the way we do it. So what happens is that, but you get values. You get some of the customs, the traditions in your home. See, while you're in this home, you go to Mass on Sunday. This is the way we do things, you see? And so what happens, the traditions are very helpful. They teach you. You don't have to start from scratch. We didn't start living yesterday, the human race. Now, how does one generation hand on to the next generation their values? Their values. In the law. See? Most laws means customs. Customs, you see? And so you say, how will we teach? Do you have to start to live your life and figure out everything yourself, reinvent the wheel? You don't. Because past generations have learned where wisdom lies, how we should treat each other, and they put it into the law. The law is not restricting you. The law is freeing you because it contains truth, values, principles. Now, if suddenly you remove from the law all values and principles, especially that came from Judeo-Christian ethics, that's what made America great. Our founding fathers said,